G'day. Snowy, but very sunny. You can see snow all over the ground. It's beautiful, I love it. And yeah, we've come out of like the polar vortex. It's a pretty heinous week there, but we didn't lose power or anything like that. There's just a shitload of snow and very cold. But now we are looking real nice. I mean, it's bluebird every day. Beautiful snow everywhere, covering the otherwise ugliness of winter, and we're feeling good. Good vibes. So, where to start? Let's go down into the. Let's go into the basement. Show you the basement, and then go up from there. I think that's a good way of doing it. Might even use the portal. All right. I'll leave that open. It's nice getting some sunshine inside. Sunlight kills germs, so don't want too many germs. Some germs is good, but when you get rid of all the germs, that's bad. But just want good germs, you know. Basement. So basement news. What do we have? You've seen the stack. Nothing's happened to that since the last installment. I did kind of clean up, ready for my toilet, almost. I just need to get the toilet, trace the shape of the base and do the self-leveling stuff. Aiming to get that done this week, maybe even tomorrow. We'll see. What else we got going on down here? It's just looking tidy. This is a basement, and look how much there's just so much light. It's beautiful. I love it down here. It's going to be great in summertime because this will just hold its temperature all year round. So right now it's cold-ish, but it's not too bad. Let's see if my beers are frozen. Still good. Haven't popped. Ripper. So that's good. Check these out. So on Craigslist, I do a regular search for leather chair. In my Craigslist, when I'm sitting there bored, I'm like, oh, I wonder what leather chairs are available on Craigslist, I think to myself. And then I have a peruse, and then I contact people, and a lot of the time people don't get back. Like, these things get snapped up pretty quick, but these guys were just like first come, first serve. This is our address. Come grab the chair. It was $30 or $40. I think it might have been $30. They had one of these advertised. So this is genuine leather. It's real leather. And this is like beautiful chrome. They're in like mint condition. I don't know what the hell they were doing selling them so cheap. Unless they're just really cheap and I'm somehow getting sucked in. But I think they're pretty good. And the guy was like, oh, I've got a second one if you want it. And I was like, yeah, I do. So I got two of these, got both these chairs for $80, which is great. Have no idea where I'm going to put them. They're a pretty unique kind of style, but I'll fit them in somewhere. Try them out in the living room, see how they go. And if I can't fit them anywhere, then I'll just like flip them, sell them for Mondo cash, you know. So chairs. Whoop. Get out of the way, Paul. Pipe, actually. Great chairs. So there's those. I also did this. So this is, see this piece of wood here, from burp here to here, is LVL, 9 inches thick, kind of sandwiching this beam, and then fixed with these beautiful lag screws which go like all the way through into the old beam, and then I've got them like every 4 to 6 inches all the way along. And because what was happening was upstairs, and we'll have a look at that in a sec, where that wall ends is like right halfway in between these two columns. this one, and this one. So the beam here is doing an awful amount of work, and it was actually cracking a little bit and sagged by about 3/4 of an inch. So what I did, you can see the remnants, my blocking or cribbing down here. I jacked it up until it was as level as I could get it, and then I slapped these lovely big timbers on each side. And then when I let the jack down, this didn't settle at all. So I'd pushed 3/4 of an inch sag out of it, reinforced it with hardcore LVL timber and Mondo screws, and then let the jack down, and it all sat nicely and solidly in place. So that's, yeah, I'm chuffed with this, and it just looks great. It's like super solid. I was going to do the entire beam, the entire length of the house with these LVLs, but I didn't need to, and that was going to be a lot of work. So just focusing on the critical areas, this one being the most critical. Yeah, so in here, so we are pretty much underneath that living room overhead. So let's see if we can teleport here. Oh, hey, it worked. So now we're in the living room, directly over the top of where we were just standing. So we would like there. We just hopped up through the floor here. Now we're in the middle of this living room. So where those LVLs were downstairs is where this... So see this wall here that's kind of shooting off away from us? That is the like central spine wall of the house, and that rests on that beam. So that middle wall is carrying all of the floors up through the house, except in this living area space. I've explained this before, but I'll tell you again. That spine wall stops right here. So this floor overhead is taking all of that, the walls above, without the help of a wall below it. So I'll get to that in a sec, but the load at the end of this spine wall is considerable, because this corner, this corner here is taking the weight of like half of that entire floor there. Whereas each of these studs is just taking like the little bit directly above it, if that makes sense. So reinforced with those LVLs underneath here, stiffened it up nicely, feels very strong. And then I got my new friend Ryan to come and help me with this. So we got the 2 new LVLs in. Look at that. And we managed to push a good 3/4 of an inch to an inch of belly out of this beam above. So that feels pretty good. And I think it's made a bit of a difference upstairs. Look at that. Oof. So that's a serious beam. That's like 6 pieces of timber spanning that, but it kind of needs to be that beefy, because we're dealing with like a 16-foot span here. Like, it's really long. That's a lot of... That's a big span for relatively shallow timbers. They're only like 2x8s. They're not 2x10s, which they really should be for this kind of span. But yeah, that's that, which is pretty cool. And so, as I was saying, I was holding off on... Oh man. Quick aside, like, what is the body doing? Just like spewing out boogers when you get cold? Inquiring minds want to know. So yeah, fucking... Yeah, I was waiting for this to happen before I could do the next thing. So let's go and have a look at the next thing. Whew. Yeah, here we are, upstairs. Look at this. This is just delightful. So I was waiting for that beam to be sorted out downstairs before I could finish doing this, which is drywalling the entire living room here. You can kind of see all drywalled. Let's go back here and have a look back that way. You can see drywall door there, drywall door here. So now this room is looking real good, much closer to being finished. Still a lot to do, but it's tidied up real nice. Yeah, it's a ripper. So this wall here that kind of like divides the living room from the study is load bearing. This is a load bearing wall, and this sits on that beam over the living space in the downstairs flat. So that beam is taking this wall and its kind of share of the roof load and everything. So that's a lot kind of coming down on that kind of long span of wood. So it's kind of natural that it's sagged a little bit. And while I was at it, I also drywalled the study here. Just trying to show you. Kind of see new drywall on that wall. There was a door. There was a door there, and there will be again. I took the door and all of the jam and stuff out, and I've put a piece of 2-inch thick insulation foam board in here, and then I just spray foamed all around the gaps because snow was blowing in here, so now that won't happen anymore. So yeah, the doorway is still there, and it's going to be a doorway again when I rebuild the porch out the front. But until there's a porch out the front, there's no point having a door here. It's just a big leaky spot. So I just insulated it, drywalled over the front of it. Underneath this drywall, I've like taped around the edge so it's all properly weather sealed. You can kind of see the tape there. Hardcore super sticky, like weatherproofing tape. So it's all sealed up, insulated, and this will be my kind of bedroom until the other proper bedroom's ready, and a bunch of other stuff. So the next order of business is to tape and mud all of these drywall joints and get it smooth, ready for paint, which is pretty exciting. I think I showed you this. I ended up blowing out a corner here, so I'm going to have to build this back up with plaster, but that's okay. It's going to paint it with some nice like bonding primer and then replaster that corner. It'll end up beautiful. So this is very exciting. One step closer to habitation. This will be my bedroom. This will be my living area, and I'll probably have like, I don't know, my little stove in the corner, and it'll be rather primitive to begin with until the proper kitchen's serviceable, which is one of my next priorities. But yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be cool. It's going to be kind of like living in a little studio apartment with no bathroom and no kitchen to begin with. I'll have a toilet in the basement. That's one of my kind of conditions for letting myself move in, is functioning toilet in the basement, and it's going to be okay. So yeah, very exciting. Let's just have another look. Let's see if I can get the exposure. Yeah. It's a really cool space. Once I've got like a top on that window seat, like put plants and stuff in there. Just trying to get to expose where it's a little brightness slider. There we go. Whoa. Lovely, isn't it? So you just imagine once I've got like trim. Oh, that's right. And I'm going to be doing my panelled ceiling. So there's going to be a panelled ceiling with like coffers and beams and all trimmed nicely. Then there's going to be lovely crown moulding around the edge of the ceiling, top of the wall. And then these windows are going to be trimmed nicely with their own little baby window sills. And then there's going to be the window seat which is going to have like a lift up section in the middle, or maybe a couple of lift up sections so you can get to the contents. And yeah, it's just bloody brilliant. I mean, I'd love to like edit in a before photo, but when I first got this place, this room was just like, you could barely see the floor for trash. There was this nasty old couch kind of upended in it. There was a condom stuck to the floor around here somewhere. So one of my next orders of business is to sweep up all these little piles of dirt, and I'm actually going to give this floor a mop. Probably the first mop it's had in 20 or 30 years. 2000. Let's be generous and call it 10, 15 years. That'll be pretty interesting. And because sections of it are still lacquered, like let's get this exposure sorted out. Sections of it are still like okay. I think it's gonna surprise us. But yeah, that's that. All very positive. What else? Just some miscellaneous bits and bobs. Oh, hang on. Shout out JB, buddy. Thanks for the lovely podcast. I love hearing your voice, mate. And yeah, Detroit is a fascinating place. Rich musical history, birthplace of techno. Chicago, birthplace of house music, arguably. So Chicago's not far from here. Yeah, it's an awesome place. It is definitely off the beaten track. It is a lot of people that I meet here in stores. I'm the first Australian that they've ever met. So I feel quite exotic and special here. Yeah, it's great. I love it. And yeah, I mean, COVID has been a weird time. I keep oscillating between like severe depression and anxiety and just wanting to like bail. And then stuff like this happens. I reach a milestone with this place and the sun's shining and all of a sudden I'm just like filled with optimism and hope for the future, both near and far. So I don't actually have much of a network of friends. It's been really tough. COVID and socializing are just like anathema to each other. So I've just been quite reclusive in general, which I haven't disliked entirely. It's been really interesting. I feel like I've gotten to know myself pretty well. I don't know, just kind of sometimes it feels like work. I can be a bit hard work, you know. So learning to manage my own bits and pieces, but it's good. It's good. I feel growth, you know. So that's about it. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. JB, once again, peace out. Massive shout out. And I think I'll leave it there. I'll leave you with a lovely view out of this window to snowy neighbourhood.